The 19th Annual India Chemical Industry Outlook Conference and Exhibition organized by the Indian Chemical Council centered on the theme Shaping a Competitive and Resilient Chemical Industry for India.
This flagship event of ICC continues to bring together policymakers, global leaders, industry stalwarts and innovators to deliberate on shaping the future of the chemical industry.
This two-day event brought together leaders from across the Indian chemical sector, providing a dynamic platform for networking and insightful discussions on emerging trends, strategies to capitalize on new opportunities, and approaches to effectively mitigate risks. In this episode, we bring you exclusive highlights from the event, including the much-anticipated CEO Roundtable, where Shri Devendra Fadnavis, Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra State, shared his perspectives on driving growth, resilience, and global competitiveness in the industry.
One of our strategy has been, policy-led growth, and we have created at least 20 sectoral policies, and we have been writing these policies with the businesses, with the business councils, sectoral business councils. Policy is something which actually creates a roadmap for the sector. It also defines the policy of the state very clearly. What are the incentives or, what are the non-financial incentives? All the things are clearly charted, and, with this roadmap, I think that a very clear picture comes to the industry so that industry can invest. So today I would like to invite you to write a policy with us for the chemical industry so that the future of chemical industry in the state of Maharashtra can be defined, and we can create a roadmap.
Day 1 kicked off with an opening remarks by Kamal P. Nanavati, Chairman, Conference and Exhibition Expert Committee, ICC, and President, Strategy Development, Reliance Industries.
The chemicals is at a global inflection point. India has demand, India has talent, India has digital capability. The opportunity is to build a $1 trillion chemical industry by 2040 is indeed real.
Up next was the welcome address and a session on perspectives on the Indian chemicals industry delivered by Ramya Bharatram, President of the Indian Chemical Council and MD and CFO of Tirumalai Chemicals.
India's chemical industry today is valued at around $220 billion. With the right policies and investments, it can go up to $1 trillion by 2040. But that will require an industry that is competitive, resilient, and globally trusted.
Moving on, the keynote address titled Towards Business Agility and Competitiveness, How Are MNCs Responding to Geopolitical Shifts was delivered by Dr. Klaus Rettig, President Asia Pacific and Interim CEO of Evonik Industries AG, Singapore.
The world is much more unpredictable today than in the past. This fluid environment is reshaping trade, regulations, alliances, and industrial policies. It is an environment that is more complex and challenging than ever before. We at Evonik are excited about the growth opportunities in India.
Up next, the second keynote address titled Future of the Global Chemicals Industry in the Light of Macroeconomic Headwinds was delivered by Sven Smith, Senior Partner at McKinsey & Company.
A new era is a multi-decadal moment, and that's what we're in right now. If India just continues at this pace, it will reach Switzerland in 2100. You don't need to change the pace.
Next, the third keynote address titled Building Global Competitiveness in the Chemicals Industry Amid Geopolitical Shifts was delivered by Christian Guckel, Global Head of Verticals, Chemicals and Energy at Siemens, Germany.
The mega trends are known to everybody of us: digital transformation and AI. Sustainability and decarbonization is a topic, and we heard it today. We heard about the opportunities ahead as the EU-India trade agreement. It combines the second and the fourth largest economy. It's 2 billion consumers, so it's a great opportunity for the chemical industry.
The fourth keynote address was presented by Haryono Lim, President Mega Projects Asia at BASF Guangdong, China, where he shared insights on large-scale project execution and the evolving opportunities within the Asian chemicals landscape.
As you can see here, I bring with me this cover photo at our new integrated site the single largest investment ever by the BSF. We started this journey 8 years ago, and just 2 months ago, to be exact, on January 1st, we put this new site into operations.
Up next, we heard the guest of honor address by Marco Mensink, Director General of the European Chemical Industry Council, Brussels, Belgium, who shared valuable perspectives on the global chemical industry and Europe's role in shaping its future.
The one thing no one could foresee is the speed in which all these developments take place, and the speed in which crisis after crisis is now impacting the global chemical industry. Policymakers are making the turn and really striving to get a new industrial policy on the table for Europe. We value the relationship with the Indian producers, but we also see huge opportunity for further growth.
Up next, we witnessed the launch of the conference white paper, marking a key moment that highlighted important insights, industry trends, and strategic recommendations for the future of the chemical sector.
I would like to start with thanking Shri Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, for his kind message on encouraging the Indian chemical industry to strengthen our resilience and competitiveness and create a roadmap for our country going forward. Every year is different. Every year we are grappling with different challenges. And this year, of course, seems to be more challenging than others, even though we've been reminded of historical contexts. We live here today, so we have to live today and dream and build a great future. Thank you very much.
The next session focused on navigating headwinds in a geopolitical environment, exploring strategies for the chemical industry to manage risks and adapt to global uncertainties.
This session is going to be very interesting. We have very good speakers over here.
The global uncertainty is the new normal. India and Indian companies do have a unique opportunity where we can position ourselves as partners to counter these volatile macros.
Our company is first overseas is a production site was India. It started 70 years ago, so we started collaboration with Indian government. Then AGC is started Indo-Asahi Glass.
I fully believe into the promise of this being India's decade and India being poised for growth. The location that you have here, in the geographic location, with a lot of sea access, you have fantastic technical talent, and this combination should set you up for success if you choose to play that game.
Moving on, the next session was titled Chemical Industry in Transition, Insights from China and Strategic Pathways for India, where experts shared key learnings from recent shifts in the Chinese chemical industry and their implications in the current global scenario.
I think people all know the Chinese economy right now is not growing as fast as before. But if you take a macroeconomic view, I'll say there are many negative signs. But there are also, I would say, positive signs and neutral signs. India today is a much more vibrant place than China in many dimensions.
Moving on, we bring you glimpses from the panel discussion on strategies for value-focused margin maximization, where industry leaders explored approaches to boost profitability while driving sustainable growth. Moving on, we bring you glimpses from the next session, Unlocking Growth in India's Chemical Industry, from emerging hotspots to next-gen value creation, highlighting key opportunities, innovation drivers, and strategies to create sustainable value for the sector's future. Next up, we bring you glimpses from the panel discussion on new growth arenas, which explore tailwinds and strategic imperatives to capture value across key end markets, including construction chemicals, biopharma, biochemistry, bioX, petrochemicals, green chemicals, and semiconductor chemicals. The session on infrastructural resilience, the changing face of chemicals infrastructure, delved into evolving trends, innovation, and strategies for building robust and future-ready chemical industry infrastructure.
How many chemical industrial parks are there in Germany? Somewhere between 30 and 40. Do you know how many are there in China? 600 to 700. How many are there in India? It's 3. So that's why the topic is important.
The new age chemical park taking care of every aspect that is required to start a conventional plant, along with end customer, landed cost that is more optimal, more efficient, and business friendly.
The stakeholders collaboration is very, very important for making a good packaging because innovation accelerates when ecosystem collaborate.
Why safety must be a priority in logistics? So logistics is something where you carry your chemicals outside your plant.
We also captured key highlights from the Energy and Climate Change Leadership Group meeting of the International Council of Chemical Associations, showcasing discussions on sustainable practices, energy efficiency, and climate strategies shaping the global chemical industry. A grand exhibition ran alongside the conference, offering a prime platform to forge new business connections, reinforce existing partnerships, and showcase technical expertise. The event featured innovative products and solutions across the chemical and allied industries, spotlighting the latest advancements across multiple sectors. Now let's hear from industry leaders as they share their perspectives on the chemical industry.
PLI scheme for chemical industry is essential. Well, there is an urgent need to have this program. In fact, government had taken some initiative. There is a need, and particularly for specialty chemicals.
I do believe that India has the innovative abilities. India has the costs which will make it viable to actually be a large producer. Right now, as you may be aware, we are just 4% of the world's market share, while China is at close to 35 to 40%. So I believe the opportunity is huge. Whether that 1 trillion mark is actually achievable, I'm not sure. It's taken us a long time to get to this $220 to $250 billion mark. I'm not totally convinced that we can grow 4 times in the next 15 years. But I sincerely hope that we come close to that number.
Some of the industries want to find more women to come into the workplace, and they're not able to. And in some industries, they feel that because of the policies and because of the work, the nature of the work that is involved, they may not want women to be there. I think that has to change. Globally, we don't see too many women in the chemical industry, but I think it is important that people realize that they are losing out on 50% of the workforce if they don't look at women.
For the bulk chemicals, of course, you need to have infrastructure, logistics, things like this. For the specialties, they are more knowledge intensive. So you need to have more focus on research and development. You need to have more focus on innovation. You need to have industry, academia participation or collaboration. The second is, incentivizing R&D. Now, the talent is there, it has to be channeled properly. The institutions are there. And we need to get a good interaction with the industry.
One of the major factors that India offers today is the capex differential, which is almost 30 to 50% depending on the type of project that we have been looking at. Another opportunity that it has and offers here is the OPEX, about 10 to 20% lower OPEX than other competitor countries for investment.
I think India, by default, has a very strong private sector, which is having a deep-rooted industrial enterprise. And the other important aspect structurally is the domestic demand that we have. And I think the democratic government that we have and the flexibility of policies that will benefit both multinational stakeholders as well as domestic stakeholders. And that's where I think we can reach $1 trillion economy.
India is doing very well in terms of manufacturing footprint, in terms of the government's focus on improving that. And there are very good steps being taken to promote R&D as well.
Challenges are still where I would say more on the mindset, on the logistics people or the end users, where they still see that or I would say first mile and the last mile to connect to the hubs. So we need more hubs. Okay, so this dedicated freight corridor will gradually bring in more hubs where you connect last mile and first mile, and that is the challenge.
ICC Outlook Conference is the right forum to understand global chemical industry as well as Indian chemical industry. So here I am getting a lot of advantages to meet various of my customer and my vendors, and it's going to be very useful for all of us.
We need to harmonize the things, so things are getting standardized. And talking about the compliances, and you know that The framework of regulation is expanding globally, and for us also to do business with the overseas countries, it's mandatory to have the compliance in place. Especially I'm talking about the chemicals, because chemical compliance is really important to stay in the market.
Welcome back. Day 2 of the 19th Annual India Chemical Industry Outlook Conference and Exhibition kicked off with a fireside chat on innovation in the chemical industry, where industry leaders shared insights on emerging technologies, breakthrough solutions, and strategies driving innovation across the sector.
How many students of professor would have actually gone to United States and have been flourishing in a large number of R&D companies over there?
I would say for 40 years, at least 25 people have gone each year. But I would say those who stayed on in India, many of them stayed on with me, did their PhD. In most cases, they did better than their counterpart in America.
R&D is broad, so there is industry part of it, there is government part of it, and there is also venture capital startup part of it. So all of that infrastructure needs to be there.
Up next, we had a presentation titled Acing the Gen AI Game in Chemicals, Learnings from Other Industries by Sudhakar Kakula-Varapu, partner at McKinsey & Company, where he shared key insights on leveraging generative AI to drive innovation and efficiency in the chemical sector.
First of all, I think this particular, the realm of AI is not new. I mean, it has been around for, I would say, 3 decades or 4 decades. It's just that it's continued to evolve itself from one level of complexity to the other level of complexity.
Up next, we bring you a glimpse of the Startup Bootcamp, Scaling Innovation, featuring elevator pitches by startup founders in the chemical industry under the theme New Age Enablers for Chemicals. The session showcased innovative ideas and emerging solutions from invited startups, highlighting the next wave of industry transformation. Up next, we bring you a glimpse of the panel discussion on strengthening safety foundations for a resilient chemical sector, where experts explored strategies, best practices, and innovations to enhance safety and resilience across the industry. Moving on, we bring you a glimpse of the panel discussion on portfolio strategy, balancing risk, return, and growth, where industry leaders shared insights on optimizing business portfolios to drive sustainable growth while managing risks effectively. Next, we present an exclusive fireside chat, ways of working to promote women leadership in the chemicals industry, highlighting strategies, experiences, and best practices to empower and advance women leaders across the sector.
What has been the kind of leadership capabilities or mindsets that you've seen which has helped you get to where you are?
I think the very first thing that I learned was to be humble and ask questions and allow yourself to learn. I think learning is something that everybody has to be open to at any point of time. The second thing is letting yourself fail. In India, we are very afraid to fail. But I think that is something that as leaders, a little bit of allowance for failures has to be there.
There are very few women who effectively are leading some top senior leadership roles. And hence, what could be the barriers that they would be facing, right, to get to those kind of opportunities?
So we don't really face any barriers as such at the time of entry. The real issue is how you manage your family and career. And how do you balance that? Sometimes as women, like you rightly mentioned, we don't want to fail. And therefore, we feel that unless we are perfect for a job, we won't even apply. I think that needs to change.
Moving on, we bring you glimpses from the panel discussion on attracting talent to the chemical sector, where experts explored strategies to engage, retain, and nurture the next generation of professionals in the industry. Moving on, we bring you glimpses from the next session, Green Horizons, What Can Chemicals Companies Do to Achieve Net Zero, showcasing strategies, innovations, and best practices for advancing sustainability and achieving carbon neutrality in the chemical industry. Day 2 of the event concluded with a vote of thanks by D. Sothi Selvam, Director General of ICC.
The Indian chemical industry is ready to innovate, ready to compete, and ready to lead responsibly.
We are one of the largest chemical businesses in India and a leader in the chlor-alkali business. Chlor-alkali, as you know, is a power-heavy industry. Hence, decarbonization is an absolute critical goal for us. The way we are doing it is we are leveraging the natural strength of India, which is plenty of sunlight, plenty of air.
I think the first opportunity for India in chemicals is, of course, to grow with the growth of India. As the chemicals industry in India is supplying the Indian market, it maybe has opportunity to go also abroad by exports, but also maybe by having foreign direct investment, putting facilities here. For that, I think there has to be a match between what India makes and what these other countries need. So for the external opportunity, I think India needs to develop additional capability to serve what the markets outside India have. And with that, given the talent and the base and the resources of India, I think that's an additional opportunity.
From my experience, we need to move away from looking at sustainability as a cost center item and look at it more as a capital investment decision. You would put it through the same lens as any other investment decision. You would look at return potential, you would look at risk mitigation, and you would also look at what is the strategic advantage.
One question always comes out is that when we regulate safety, does it stifle growth? In fact, I would differ here. I would say a safe plant is going to increase the growth of the plant in the future. Safety is an investment which actually spurs growth and not a deterrent to growth.
There's different levels of talent in an organization. And my view is that at the C-suite, that's the CEO and the next level down, you must have board involvement and approval. So the board should actually agree to the kind of profile required, as well as they should be in the final round of interviews. There's a war for talent on right now. So what's important is to actually have a talent strategy. And there, what we think is best is to bring in some senior expert consultants to guide you, advise you, before you start a search for senior level.
The use of automation to elevate and transform the level of jobs. So the industry must go beyond being focused on labor arbitrage to creating a high technology manufacturing environment. I think that will transform the nature of jobs from manual roles in plants to ones that are data driven and technology focused, and will be able to attract much better talent because opportunities will be far more intellectually engaging. And this is just like what China has done.
Digitalization and AI are already decisive factors for the chemical industry. India has a great opportunity. You have a lot of digital natives. You have a lot of people there already with have this digital mindset. So the application of AI tools would come naturally for these people. So ultimately, I would say AI and digitalization are not only tools, they're actually strategic enablers for the chemical industry to drive competitiveness, efficiency, sustainability, and traceability.
I think if I look comparing the Indian chemicals industry and the Chinese chemical industry, it's no doubt that you are very strong on the specialty side, be it agrochemicals or other fine chemicals. I think it's very natural for you to think about continue to build on your strengths in those areas. I would also argue, right, while the industry evolves, you should think about backward integration.
MSME in chemical sector has huge opportunities. And also the FTA recently announced for UK and Europe is going to come. I think there are very good scope for MSME specialty chemical manufacture for export. Only thing they should explore. Many of the MSME do not export. In fact, for that also funding, they announced the budget. For that also discounting credit guarantee scheme will be applicable. So they can get the funding.
It's very important that the world has to looking at different feedstocks for its supply chain. The current environment is very volatile, and it shows how each country has to develop strong supply chains and also resilience. India is rich in the sun, the soil, and the farmer. With that, we can look at our own biomass as a feedstock to meet the needs of our food, fuel, and chemicals.
Now for chemical industry, the R&D is still becoming more and more important. Because of the net zero, there are going to be new chemicals or new processes which will be required. And also with artificial intelligence, AI, I think a lot of R&D will have to become, which will be triggered by AI. So it is becoming more and more important.
Today's conference actually is very appropriate, where it's talking about resilience as one of the core themes. And that is something I think which is becoming more and more important. Earlier we used to talk of just in time. Now we talk of just in case, so that we have to have supply chains which are much more robust and can handle shocks of the type that are happening nowadays.
Things are changing at a much faster rate, right? Geopolitically, technologically. So it is India's time. It's very clear to us that it's India's time, primarily because India has very good relationships internationally, right? We have signed free trade agreements with a lot of countries. There's a big captive market. There's a big educated labor pool, very good human resource. So India is becoming a center for chemical industry's future right now for the globe.